Hi there. I hope you have had a great weekend and that your Monday was looking sunny and bright. Today's live is a very special one as I'm meeting someone whom I knew maybe 6 or 7 years back and who is a great colleague, friend, and expert. This is another Live with Ghalia Luxury Edition, and we're going to be focusing tonight on branding. But branding is a very broad term, and there are many facets to a brand. When it comes to fashion and luxury, the projected image is key to the brand and to the brand's identity. But what does these aspects entail? And to what extent a fashion brand's success or failure depend on its identity? And what variable does identity include? I always try to meet with different experts to clarify aspects related to general terms like retailing and branding. And today, this live is going to be looking at the image side of the brand and the image it portrays to consumers. However, what does it take to build that image, to craft it? What are the tools that brand managers are required to have to develop and grow and be able to project that brand image? Moreover, what are the practices that managers should be looking at equally to portray that brand image? Right, so we're going to be looking at all of these aspects this evening, and please don't hesitate to come to us with your questions and comments, as Elias will be sharing a lot of his experiences. Mind as well telling you that this live is going to be especially looking at contexts of the Near East, Middle East, or the Gulf regions, and to see how brands and brand practices evolve, and whether there are startup brands that grew in that region. What actually discourse did they take to grow and develop their brand image? I'm going to invite Elias in to start this live. Okay, I'm who joined our live. Hi Steve, salut Julie, and I'm waiting for Elias to connect from Beirut. Hi Eliaso.
Hi, Ghalia. Hi.
I was doing like a long introduction to tell people that I'm going to be meeting with you tonight.
Yeah.
How are you? And how's everything on your end?
Good. How are you?
I'm fine. Eliaso, I know that it's your first live, and I really thank you for doing this with me tonight. And
so I have to choose myself in advance.
I know that we usually have a lot of fun, and this is the idea behind this live. I really want it to be fun. However, I was telling during the introduction that still there's a lot that you did and a lot that we can learn from your experience in terms of branding and brand management. Perfect. So good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining in. Elias?
Thank you, Ghalia. It's such an honor. Yeah, I hope you told them you're my teacher. So whatever I say, it's I learned it from you. So
and I will be grading you at the end. I don't like to say that I'm a teacher or not, because this will make me look very old.
Age difference, yeah. It would make me like the disabled ones.
The little student. Elias, I don't want to be talking a lot tonight. Let's start by introducing you and what you do, in a few words.
Yeah, Ghalia, as you know, I'm a brand and creative director I started from a fashion editor, been promoted to a marketing manager, and then like I got my own business to promote brands and mainly fashion designers and especially jewelry, like in a more kind of a luxury brands I have. So what do I do? So I used to work with, like, and I work with Lebanese international designers, help them throughout like Paris Fashion Weeks, like that are held in January and July for the couture. So I help them, like I cast the models. I even choose the music. I sit with the DJ, make sure that the lighting on the runway is good. Front seats, like who's sitting where, it's a bit sensitive, the seating there. It's like we have to take care of the celebrities, the press, the journalists, bloggers, whatever, whom is visible on the camera, and like with the best angle for Instagram, for podcasting. So it's a bit critical. And then comes the post-show work with like sending the pictures to the press, sending for the TVs, for the brand positioning. So it's interesting as like thought by you.
Merci, Elias. Elias, we're going to be looking at all of these steps into detail. As I was introducing this live, I highlighted on the facts that fashion branding could be a very generic term, and that with you, there's a lot of specialization and concentration on the image side, whether it is like creating the best representation in terms of image or who represents the brand, and then in terms of public relations. And these are two important aspects in fashion, as you said, that we're going to be talking about individually. Okay. But first of all, Elias, why fashion brands in the Middle East, maybe Lebanon and the Middle East, need this maybe follow up in terms of fashion branding? Does every Lebanese fashion brand have what it takes to be represented amongst other competing European brands?
Yeah, actually, Ghalia, here's the big like clash or like the gap between the Gulf and the European designers and whatsoever, or Arab, let's say, designers. Let's go back 10 years back. There was a huge clash, a huge difference between like local or Gulf designers or Lebanese designers merging into the European markets, especially throughout, like they have a good presence during out the Paris Fashion Week. So Ghalia, back then the product itself of the designer himself was like a bit flashy, bling bling, with like there was so many embroideries or whatsoever, and really like it was like a spectacular show. So they were a bit far from the minimalism or like the fluidity of the show itself. On the contrary, like now, they are way more aware of the branding, of the identity, of like how to promote the brand in a very minimalistic way, not to do the show-offs, like to be really like they have the minimalism of the Europeans with the know-how of the embroidery in the Arab world, especially in the Gulf and in Lebanon. So as we know, we have like too many emerging like Lebanese or Arab fashion designers internationally, like hitting the runways in Paris or whatsoever. So we're a bit close to the culture. Like we have like our small like know-how with the embroideries, with the couture, with the luxury touch, and a very minimalistic, let's say, beauty look or hair, or like floating on on a good music, with a good background, like with in a very minimalistic way. So now on Ghalia, as you know, like we have like Lebanese or international designers or Arab designers have ambassadors, have every house have its own creative director, in order to detect these slight details on the runway. Let's say, as we spoke before, from the music itself to the lighting to the sitting, like in a very modern, trendy way, like with the influencers now, with bloggers, that was like pre-corona, as we say. So now, yes, we're on the right track. Actually, we're almost there. The Arab and the Gulf designers are almost there throughout the campaigns. If you see, like even the ambassadors now are like have the international twist, international look. Like they're built a really character that would fit the international standards. So they are good. We're okay. We're on the good track. Branding and identity and the luxury of this media and the social media and how to promote the brand is now like one of the eight major departments in each luxury fashion house or even retailers are going that direction. So we're good.
Okay, that's assuring. So it's an important concept to look at, and as you said, comparing a decade earlier to today, maybe Middle Eastern fashion brands, if we should use the term, were more product oriented and know-how oriented, and now they are learning more to become more competitive, and they are adopting the ways to be able to fit into international, the international branding, luxury branding scene. Okay, Elias. Another question is this idea of representation. It's true that most of the times we have grew to see luxury fashion brands with a certain model, a certain look, and a certain style. Was it difficult at first, through your experience, to choose models to represent Middle Eastern designers in an international setup through like the face and the body? And
choosing the model was the best, always the best part of the job, actually. Ghalia, when we have the eye. Actually, Ghalia, you have first in the fashion industry, like the luxury department or whatsoever, couture, ready to wear or whatever, you need an ambassador, or you need something like to rely on an image, Let's say a brand or whichever brand is a character that has a soul, a reputation. It has to be consistent. You need to trust that, the brand itself. So now we have the culture. Let's say the brand itself is a model, is a girl that has a reputation, that needs to to facelift the makeup, to work on the hair, to always keep on the character, the soul, but you have to always twist it and keeping it trendy. So finding a model that suits the reputation and the trust of the brand is really hard, because actually looks count. The look counts, but still you need a character, a figure that would represent the brand itself, because to be consistent, to be let's say, to trust the model itself, because it's very easy, Ghalia, whomever have money or whomever have the budget can choose whomever blogger, model, ambassador, and pay for it, and to truly take off and the proposal of the brand. But as a brand, to mirror your brand on a social figure, on a public figure, on a model, on a role model, on a person, is a bit harsh, because we've been building the trust of the brand or the reputation of it for years. It's not as easy as everyone thinks, and it's really, really too challenging, because it kept on the positioning of the brand. You cannot go below the line and choose someone who might slip and take down the brand with him. So it's not easy, but it's surely trending. It's the trend now, to have a social figure, to have an ambassador, to have someone who can really promote the brand itself in its real figure and its real character, not to twist it all, to have its own character, to have its twist on it, but to keep it as is the brand, and even to have this.
Sorry for the little technical error that happened earlier. I'm going to connect back again with Elias to continue the live. And I'm really sorry for what happened earlier. So let me just connect back with Elias to continue where we kicked off. Okay, I should be connecting with Elias in 1 second and continue the live. Elias, I think you should be receiving my invitation now. Hi. Oh, God.
Hi, sorry.
Sorry, Elias. So I think that we had a little technical glitch.
Yes. We always have internet issues in Paris. In France.
No problem. Elias,
that's living in the Middle East.
Yes, I know. Sorry, everyone, for this little technical glitch. We're just going to continue directly where we kicked off. Elias, I'm sorry. The floor is over to you. We were talking about the models and the importance of choosing a model who conforms with the brand identity, brand soul, and essence. So we're on that.
Yes, actually, back to the models, Ghalia. Actually, I was saying like it's really a critical issue to like, let's say, to mirror your brand upon a model or whatever, an ambassador or influencer or whatsoever, Ghalia. The thing is, like, let's say, talking about the runways, once you choose, like, let's say, if you choose a model who will do the show for you, and if she does the show for another like not as a good designer, it might like create a conflict, or even for the press, or if you send the model the pictures of the runway with the specific model with a like, let's say, a good designer, and the same model like in the same magazine with not as good designer, so it's not it's not good for the image. So that's why you have to make sure, like, on the runway, for the ambassadors, what's the history, which show they are taking, like which brands did they take or did they work for. So it's really very critical, Ghalia. So for the brand itself, because the brand itself is a soul, is a character, and you have to create something to promote the reputation and the trust of the brand. It's something really valuable, and you have to like to keep on. The persistence of it is really hard.
And Elias, is it important to choose always a well-known model, or that the brand take the risk, if we can use the term, of selecting someone who's still young and upcoming and maybe grow with her as well?
Yeah, usually you have like the opening of the show. It has to be kind of a well-known model, you know, for us not to take the risk. If it wasn't like well-known, or like if it was a low-budget model, it could make the show of a non-well designer, a non-well-known designer. So we have to debut the show with a well-known model just for the sake, because she takes a lot of money. So not a normal designer or someone like a beginner or a startup could afford the model herself. So it's better to debut it with a well-known model. You have to take the risk of a dynamic young designer who might like that you see a future in her, or that would be reflective. But it's not as easy as, you know, Ghalia. If you have to cast your models or your ambassadors through, like, the agencies send more than 200 girls for you to choose 30 or 41. So it's not as easy. So we have to always filter. We could take like 10 well-known models, but you end up with 10 risky models that might go on that might show for another designer that would not be as on the level that you are. So
Right.
it's always risky, actually. Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you actually about that contact with an agency. So do you work generally with well-known agencies? Are there specific agencies whom you should contact to have the portfolio of these models? How does it happen?
Yeah, actually, Ghalia, like, let's say once back there in Paris, pre-corona time, like, yes, you can work with too many agencies, you know, like you ask for the portfolios of whichever agency you want to. They have prices, like, you know, like they take really good amount of money for they show only twice on your runway. So they would send you like the top ones, and you filter from let's say from elite agency. There are too many agencies, no, but you can choose from whichever agency you want, but you have to book it first, and you have to choose it first, like, you know, because during the fashion weeks, Ghalia, you know, it's only 3 or 4 days, like full shows running in Paris, London, New York, or whichever city in the world. So whenever you choose the model, you have to make sure like she has like she ends her pre-shows. Like if she have a show before you, she needs to end it like before 4 hours to remove her makeup, to come back to your agency. Sorry, that was the dog. You know, like you need to make sure that she arrives on time. Like she takes off the makeup to do her hair, to renew the makeup on her face. You know, it's something really. It's a hassle, but sometimes the well-known top models that you want to debut the show with maybe would have a runway for, let's say, Chanel, whatever, Louis Vuitton, and they have the priority. The agency gives the priority for the big top names, international top names. And then whenever, like, if you had the chance to take this model after their show, like, you need to pay really well. Once, like, we sent on a bike, we got her on a bike. It was really the traffic, so she wouldn't skip the show. It's always risky. It's always fun, but you can always manage. You know, like, worst case, if she doesn't show up, like, for whichever reason, you make 3 outfits in one look. Yeah. I swear, once we sent a biker to get the models just only to avoid the traffic.
Yeah.
So imagine.
I imagine the hassle and the stress.
Yeah.
So now you chose those those models to fit in the designer's show, and it's the D-Day, and you are on the show. So what's happening inside the show? How is everyone going crazy? And
yeah, actually, if I knew that was a question, like, I could have got you rushes. Actually, Ghalia, it's a hell of a day. It's literally like a wedding day, you know, like you work like for months for your wedding day, and it ends like in an hour or two. So it's really like all the work are condensed for a 20-minute show. So it's too hectic, too hectic in the backstage, you know, because you have to brief first like a week before the makeup artist that you have about the beauty look first, and you need to like, and then you need to show them the stage and the lighting, so they know where the lights are coming from, so for the shadows on the face, so know to match the makeup, and then you have to do the fitting. You have an habilleuse that would like, you have, let's say 25 models or 30 models, you have 30 helping them to like to zip and to unzip and to wear, you know, and you have to do the passage. It's so hard to do the passage and to give her like the time for her to change, and then to keep on the palette, and you know, like you put your collection from 1 to 35, let's say, to 40 model design. You have 30 models or 20 models doing 2 outfits per model. So you need to do the passage, like she finishes the show and she have all the time to go back to change the show. And you have to choose 2 tone of a palette, like that would match, let's say, a blonde model or a brunette, you know. So it's the hassle to choose like 2 outfits for 1 model and from 2 different color tones. So it's so hard. You have to work with the music. You have to do the passage like really, like it has to be too sharp on the runway, and then you have the bridal like going out. That's the show on the side, and the sitting. You can never imagine how sensitive the sitting in the front row is. You know, like it's too sensitive. Like, why is she sitting on the front row? I'm not. Like, why? No. You have the celebrities always on the front row, but you have the journalist, you have the blogger, you have the fashionista, the trendy, you know, you have the client. So everyone, they think they should fit on one row on the front row, and you have 3 rows that you have to fill in with like working on not to make anyone like go. They always leave the show if they don't like the seating. They go. If it was a client, a journalist, whatsoever, it's a huge problem. Like you have to convince them that your seat is the best among all the 100 seats you have, you know. So it's challenging. You have to work on the character and the personality of each invitee. So it's really a tough job. And the toughest job is the post show. Is okay, as a brand director or as a creative director, okay, we did the show. The problem is the post show. If you have to run and to send fast first to the magazines, like to do like you add like X designer was showing now in X place with these pictures, and then you have to like to the press, to the prints, and they needed like a very high resolution, because it's a printout, it's on a magazine, it's for a blogger, and you send for a blogger, and you send for the TV the 2 seconds that would go on the news, like, yes, now in Paris X designer was showing now, and you have to run for the brand positioning. We have the culture, especially in the Middle East, like if you send first your rushes and your first broadcast it on TV or on the magazine, you're on the front page. It's like, wow, you're more reputable than the designer who came on the second one. It's not the case. You know, it's a matter of timing. Like it's not positioned in the magazine like who's the best from the worst, and you know, so it's tough. The post production is very tough to do the coloring. It's really a hard job, especially with the Middle Eastern mentality that you have to be first in the magazine and you have too many competitors. It's a really hassle. We don't sleep for 2-3 days only to send brushes, to send pictures, to differentiate each picture for each magazine, not to repeat the picture twice in both magazines. So it's really a hell of a job, but it's so rewarding. It's really nice. It's what keeps on the brand bit, like, you know, bit positioned on a level that it needs a personal effort for it. It's not judged by, you know, the magazines or the TVs doesn't put the designers one above in front of the other only for the, like, they think it's X is better than Y, they put X first. It's not. They took X's rushes first. That's why they put it first. And the magazine so it's onward, but it's not in the Lebanese culture to.
Yeah. I don't think we have like the education or the culture to think of it that way.
Exactly.
Because this is how we grew.
And you know how the competition is in Lebanon or in the Middle East. They're too competitive, so it's a bit of a harsh work. Yeah.
But as you said, it's rewarding, and I believe that we should pay a lot of attention to the aspect of teamwork and organizing these kinds of shows, right? Working with different people, and especially when you're moving to a setup like to Paris, for example, you'll be also working with people whom you don't know directly. So how do these relationships start, like when you book your hotel or your taxi or your driver? I mean, culturally, are there clashes as well into doing that kind of thing?
Actually, Ghalia, both places, whether in the Middle East, whether in Europe, Paris, in whichever country you are, in order to like, you need a maestro on a set to coordinate between the hairdresser, the makeup artist, the event planner, the DJ, you know, the set, everything to join them, the photographer, the videographer, you know, because mainly, especially in the Middle East, when you give like, let's say that's the model, when you show the hairdresser, the beauty look, I say, I want a very simple hair with a very simple, and with a makeup artist, very simple makeup. They tend, because you're gonna credit the name, they tend to do very sophisticated hair and makeup for them to show the world, I can do such a sophisticated hair and such a blinging makeup, and so that's why it's too hard for you to convince a hairdresser or makeup artist, whether internationally or locally, to make a simple look, a very modern, let's say, we're talking about how like the minimalistic look, the European, the fluid look, they don't have it. It's so hard to really to coordinate and to convince them that the beauty look that fits my runway, that it goes with the music, with the theme of the collection itself. You know, Ghalia, as you know, as you taught us again, that each collection has a mood board, has a press release. It comes from an inspiration that of which follows the makeup and the hair and the dresses, even the music. So to coordinate all these, the sound engineer with the lighting engineer and the DJ, and to put the cuts, the shows, how it ends, the way it should end with the bridal, and you know, it's too tough. And even in the backstage and the stage itself, it's too tough. The coordination itself, whether locally or internationally, it's too tough to coordinate with too many people and then to make them work really on a one. So that's why the teamwork, as you said, is the key. And you need one player, the creative director or whomever, to can really tolerate and like add a touch of like, let's say, fun for the job, because it's very tense, because everyone needs to tend the rope for his side. So
Right.
you need to be like really coordinating between them and like working between minds for you to have your show perfect, and everyone would be too happy and like
Managing
satisfied
the
with
project and managing people within the project. I mean,
it's a project by itself to manage. It's a project by itself, starting from the stylist and the designer, like to the one like suing, you know, to the designer himself, to everything. Is really it's nothing but coordination. Really, like the designer would draw the inspiration, and you have a hell of a teamwork that has to make his idea like see out the light. So it's really hard and tough, you know, to combine art and creativity, to make them like real and to see them, and you know, with less mistake that would do.
Right. I think
that's the teamwork.
Is giving you a comment, Elias, like, isn't it why art directors cannot be too sweet? I mean, if you have Elias as an art director.
Yeah. No, but really, it's a very interesting question. Really, you can't be too sweet. Like if you tell the hairdresser, okay, you're the artist, you do the hair like you want, it's gonna be really drift outside the shoot mood board, or the shoot like the mood of the shoot itself and the inspiration. So for the makeup artist and what we're talking about, so you can't be too sweet, or like saying like you have the photographer, like let's say for doing a campaign, a marketing, whichever campaign like we're doing, you hire a photographer for the photos, a videographer. You have a location manager, you have the makeup artist, everyone, like you have minimum 20 to 15 people on set. So you can't be too sweet to say that the photographer, okay, you can take the shot the way you see it. It's not, you're the director for him.
Right.
You only like ask of the photographer, the pixels in the camera, like I see the model looking like, I see the angle from this angle. I only want from you to click that. I only want from you a good pixels. You know, and you can only, but knowing the photographers everywhere, there are artists, like he keeps on saying, no, I see it this way. I tell him, okay,
personal touch.
Exactly, do it your way, but please do mine, because I see it like this, because you have to brief him for the inspiration. So everyone, like, he wants to put his input, like everyone is a boss on set. So that's why it's too hard. Like if you lose it and if you're too sweet, everyone will be bossy on everyone. So you lose the whole direction of the shoot or of the team or whichever like theme you're working on. So you have to be a bit politely harsh, or like you do your job. I tell them, you do your job, but please let me show you my angle, my side. Try to take it this way, and so on. Really, you have to play between the minds, and not everyone to like. And while the photographer is taking his picture, the videographer can't interrupt for the light. For the two lights are, you know, the light of the videographer is way different than the light of the photographer himself. So it's going to be it's a whole coordination. So that's why the question was very smart. You can't be too sweet, because you have to make a balance politely between the whole key people on the set. They more than 20.
And it's important again, Elias, to draw back to the initial idea of all of this. It's having to understand and to translate the brand's identity and concept and the brand's essence into whatever activity, whether it was the dress, the show, or the entire communication campaign, to reflect to that. Which, Elias, I believe, sends us to the next question, and important question today. After this pandemic, most of the shows were canceled. Some brands managed to create online shows or virtual shows. Some other brands invested a lot in communicating through social media and doing other activities. Let's talk a little bit about these social media communications and how do brands use this tool today to communicate to their audiences?
True. Actually, Ghalia, like after pandemic, during the pandemic, actually, it's hopefully we're going to be post-pandemic anytime soon, saying like finally we're off Corona. It was like we had too many artistic platforms. Like it was really revamped on really artwork platforms, you know. So mainly all the fashion, like they managed to do their shows. They couldn't, in a way, like it's virtually, and the same, like with the same like impact that as if like you were seeing the show live. It's not as really as vivid as if you're seeing the show. Yeah, but they managed to like they managed to push the creativity button. Like once, like Kuprani, he did like what, like he got an arena, he got into it like 35 cars. Okay, he did 35 cars, like with the flashlights of the cars, created a runway. It has only, each car has the driver and one invitee. So he managed to have 35 invitees watching the show over the headlights of, it was Corona pre, it was super safe, and he managed to make like from the arena, like, you know, a drive-in runway only on the flashlights of the car, like with one passenger in each car, so to avoid the Corona risk and you know, and the COVID and the social distancing. It was too creative. Like we managed to see show really, they pushed the button of creativity. The online platform, podcast, the webinars, everything like was broadcasted like perfectly on the web. So we had to follow, like now we can follow the trends, we can read articles, like we have trends set from the 2021 fall winter and the spring summer. We're aware of what's the cuts, what's the in, what's the it trends of the season. Okay, we couldn't see it. We didn't have the street style like spirit. We didn't have the life itself during the fashion weeks in New York, London, Milan, or whatever, or Paris. We didn't have the thing living in the restaurants and the street styles and seeing the models everywhere, like in the shows, like the you know, the theatrical runways. But yet they managed to do like they pushed the creativity button. They were like a creative resilience, especially in London. And you saw really artistic work on the platform, on the social media, and it was like kind of rewarding. And they do like really they did the upcycling. They upcycled fashion. They recycled. They did patchworks. They did really like with the not to waste for the waste of the fabrics of the past season. They mixed it together in a stunning patchwork work. You know, just for them to upcycle fashion, not to like, you know, that you couldn't like ship and you couldn't like the fabrics weren't done or delivered at the time, so they had to upcycle fashion, and they did great. And even the show were amazing, and they were amazingly broadcasted on the social media platforms. So they were really fine.
And do you believe that the majority of the brands who were not acquainted to this creative mentality will be able to continue if things change after the pandemic? Because most of the brands are very conformative and very traditional in their ways of management and thinking. And you have
True,
worked
true.
with most of them, right?
Yes,
So
yes,
what's
true,
your
true.
thoughts? What are your thoughts on that?
Actually, sadly, during the pandemic, the human being, like the human being himself, was like really
Shaken.
robotically was yeah. So sadly, too many were like were taken off from their work. Too many were replaced. People now are looking like have the trend to shop online. Even like even the most of the shops or the boutiques are now virtual, are like online shopping. So it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be harsh on a marketing wise, and even the big names like lost more than 35% of the revenues, or the fashion itself is suffering, is struggling. Like small designers, like definitely won't see the light anytime soon, because like too many, let's say, too many damages, too many, like everything is so hard to do now. Like everything is replaced with robotically, with the online shipping, with the manufacturing online. Like there's no offers. Like the demand isn't as, like, let's say, only
Strong
the.
as it was before, right?
So it's gonna be tough. Like we're gonna see too many small businesses like vanishing from the market. It's not as it's not gonna be like the post-pandemic is not going to be like the pre-pandemic fashion industry. We're going to lose too many names, small businesses already. What we're losing too many names already so far. So, and like you said, the strategy would be fine. It's nothing but online now. The online shows, the online, like even the models, like everything is going to be cut to have even more. So, the business is struggling. The business will struggle more. Like, and the human being are really now under threat of the online shopping, of the online thing. You don't have, and you don't have events. Even with the pandemic, we don't have like the events that used to be like the weddings, the big events, the red carpets, the shows, the concerts. So everything that you don't even know, the demand of the for fashion is not as the pre-pandemic. The offer is less for the fabric, for its skirts, for its shipping, for its social distancing. So the production is slow. The demand is even slower. So only the big names might survive. The big companies, the luxury product would remain kind of like can handle the deficit, but the small businesses would really, especially here in the Middle East, would close if they didn't
The
close already.
situation
So
remains.
it's
But
really bad. It's really bad.
Elias, on a branding note as well, we talked about the importance of branding and showing the brand identity through fashion shows and other communications. However, you also worked with very small brands or startup brands who wanted to have a share of the market.
True.
What are the difficulties to working with a smaller brand, especially when the brand owner or the entrepreneur doesn't have the knowledge and the know-how and maybe the state of mind to understand the concept of branding and the importance of branding?
True. Well, true. That's true. You know what, Ghalia, for startups, it's too difficult. You need to shape the body of the brand from scratch. You have to bring that, and you have for you to convince the designer or whomever the startup brand to make an impressionable and like a memorable impression. Like if you need to, like, you need a budget. So for them, the startups, like if they have, let's say, have this amount, they only put 20% of even less than 15% of the amount for the marketing campaign, for whichever, and they put their own input and effort for the finishing and for the fabric itself, and for the product itself. So for startup, especially if it mainly all the designers are not like business oriented, so they took like they tell me, please, I only know how to draw, and you have to sell my drawings or to sell my creation. So it doesn't work like this. So I tell them, please don't even cut the budget 50-50. Let's say give us 30% for the department, for the exposure, for the branding, for the awareness, for the personality of the brand. We're shaping it. We need to create a body, a soul for the brand. It's too hard. You need the logo, you need the identity, you need the personality for the brand. So you sit with the designer, like, let's say, who do you want to, who's your target? What's your brand, and what do you want for them? Why you're the best? Okay, you're your brand. Who are you? Your brand. Why you're the best, and why people should buy you, not anyone else. So you need this awareness, and awareness like comes from campaigns, from marketing campaign. You need to know all the fashion editors in each magazine, the editor in chief, the influencers. it's a personal effort, but it needs a budget. So the startups doesn't have the at least they are not aware of the importance of the media, of the campaigns, of the awareness of the brand itself, of its identity, of its even packaging, logo, everything. The soul, it has to move. You have to make a movement for this body, for the soul, for this new brand, for it to shine. They don't have the awareness of, of like putting this budget for this certain amount of money for the product of them, for it to shine, for us to make an awareness with it. Like, how would I convince you that you're the best? You are the best teacher, but how would I convince you? I need to make like, a portfolio, the know-how, an amazing shoot, and high standard, picture of you. Like everything should be like on a level, on a scale that needs to stand out. They don't know this. And you're sculpting from zero, from scratch, the new brand. It's too difficult. It's very hard to make the mentality. It's a mentality. It's a lifestyle. It's a puzzle. You cannot do the puzzle and skip. It's a circle. You can't skip this part, the branding part, the awareness, the personality, everything that should be like as perfect as you want to be. You focus on your creation, we focus on your image, and that's why you build this, the sketch. You put everything in one frame that would look coherent and.
So we have to go back and convince people that brands or developing brands is a holistic process, and that entails really different facets. And every facet is integral on its own and has to go beyond the mere product and offering. Elias, we are talking more and more today about brands, okay, but we are talking also about brand experiences. What is today brand experience, and does the Middle East embrace the concept of experiences in retail and in branding?
Actually, yes. Yes, back on decades, we didn't have the culture at all. But now then, like it's especially with the pandemic, like we have too many brands emerging. We have too many small businesses. We have really high luxurious brands. We're like, so everyone is even the customer who has like too many luxury brands oriented, or like is experiencing more retail brands, is experiencing online, is buying online. So now with the online, branding has still its impact, but still the shoot itself, the image is only like focused on the shoot, on the campaign of the brand. Like the branding mainly now is focused on the shoot itself, on how you promote your brand on Instagram or on a platform, social media platform that has the best picture, let's say, or ambassador or influencer tagging you. So now the branding is a bit now narrowed about only the picture itself, because only now we're only exposed on the phone, on the social media, on Instagram, on the online shops. So mainly now the brands, everyone, like from the luxury, from even the most luxurious brand to the retailers, even the small brands or small businesses, you have only to value the brand itself, or its trust or its communication is done only by the picture of the shoot itself. So mainly now they are focusing on the shoot itself. Whomever can afford to do a nice shoot, so they do a photo shoot. They promote it on Instagram, let's say. They promote it like they buy you like ads or whatsoever, Google ads or whomever. So now branding is, after pandemic, is even like it's gonna struggle as well, because we're drifting from the branding, from the identity, from the soul of the brand itself, only to be like stuck on this photo of the videography of the shoot.
Visual aspect of the brand.
So it's mainly strictly visual now. So the branding is it's easier to do like those days.
Right. But still, again, because I have the responsibility to say it, even if brands are today embracing the visual aspect, it does not mean that they should let go of any other aspect related to the product, the quality, services, or any of the retailing or e-tailing part, of course. Elias, so I think we have a couple of comments. Let's read them. So they must understand their brand to not only the selling. I think we covered that point, that brands are not only product oriented. And another comment, I think it's easier to convince retailers to invest in branding than before because they can clearly see the death of traditional thinking and their consequences. I think also it joins what you have explained. Right, and thank you for this comment, because again, we're going back to this importance of looking good and selling well and having a good product. And of course, the pandemic pushed us to pay attention to our identities, because we know it in the Middle East, we have had many successful retailers who've been on the market for many years and who have been doing well because they are family businesses, or they have been there, they happen to be there like 50 or 60 years ago and moved, but then all of a sudden they were irrelevant as they couldn't do what they did best, right? And you know, a lot of those, Elias.
Exactly. And you've been working, like, you did too many feasibility study about those works as well, so you know better, Ghalia. You've been there. You did the structure of mainly half of them, so you know better. You wrote a book about it.
Oh my God.
Good. Yeah, I can't say a word.
No, we can't. We will talk about that later on. Elias, so we did, I believe, the round into like the visual aspect of the brand's identity, the translation into everything that relates to public relations, the fashion shows, and today the social media identity. What are your thoughts today, and what are maybe your future predictions on how to manage brands, especially in this, like, if we want to say, shaky, uncertain period?
Actually, yes. Like, speaking about here, like speaking from the Middle East, the Middle Eastern designers going out, like who used to do the runways in Paris. Now it's too tough on us, especially economically, to go out. Especially with the currencies and everything, like with the pandemic rules and the social distancing, like you need like to double the team just for you with the social distancing to make to do the same production. So I don't think you will see from the Middle East like young designer emerging soon. Mainly the big designer will remain in the market. Fashion will struggle hardly in the Middle East, especially retailers and small businesses. But we're gonna do it. We're gonna survive it. Actually, we're gonna stick to the, like, we need a miracle. Actually, not branding nor identity, nothing less but a miracle to survive it. Especially in Lebanon, here in the Middle East, with everything like the pandemic and all the crisis we're having here. So we're gonna upcycle fashion for the future 2 years, which, with my humble opinion, we're gonna like do like only work on the connections that we built throughout the years to keep on the brand or the image, the identity, like
going
visible,
on,
but still it's going to be like 2 tough years, especially in the Middle East and in Lebanon, for us to keep up with like what we used to do with the big shows that we used to do, the ambassadors, the events, everything, the red carpet that we used to emerge. So it's going to be not easy as before, but we'll survive it. Big names will survive it. Sadly, small names won't. New designers won't emerge anytime soon, but we'll keep it. It will run. It will keep on running we'll keep on running the show.
Hopefully. So, like, food for thought. Given the difficulty of the situation today, it goes beyond doing the exercise or branding or not branding. It's like surviving and doing whatever you can do just to make sense and to continue on until the external environmental factors ease up on you. Because I believe brands today are faced in the Middle East and then Lebanon, as we see, with influences that go beyond the control of the brand, even if he has the will to evolve and do the exercise well, it does not have the capacity or the capabilities to do that, which is sad. But I hope that everyone shares your optimism and will be able to rethink their actual situation with what they have to make more sense of it. I hope so.
We will stand strong.
Of course. Eliaso, what else can we say, or didn't we cover about branding and the importance of the visual aspect of branding? Did I do the round? And is there anything else
Yes, you
that
did.
you would like to?
You did it wrong perfectly, perfectly, Ghalia. Too many like
Thank
very,
you.
very interesting questions, amazing questions actually. Yes, you did everything. Like you highlighted on everything, mainly on all the aspects. It's easy yet not as easy to survive it here in the Middle East, but we'll keep on like providing you with good shoots, with nice runways, with an amazing creation. Like we're gonna like really push the button of our creativity in it's less budget, in a less budget, you know, but we're gonna do it. We're gonna keep on the level, hopefully internationally on an international standard. We will do it. We will survive it, hopefully. And that's it. Mainly, that's it about branding. It's too important, and I'm so lucky that you got me with you on your live, Ghalia, with my first live, and like you've been always my angel, like ever since. Like you were my teacher, so I owe you big time.
Thank
And
you.
that's it. Mainly we covered
Thank you.
mainly we covered everything. Everything. Hopefully, we covered everything. Like it's a huge umbrella, like under which branding covers with like too many aspects that hopefully we had the time to run throughout few of them. So I guess yes, mainly that was it. The struggle, between the struggle, we'll keep on the good work.
Thank you, Eliaso.
Thank you.
But my question is the following. If someone wants to get in touch with you, how can you do that? And shall I mention the bird consultancy or not?
Yeah, definitely. Sure, you should mention the Bird Consultancy. It's
So
the platform
please tell us
where,
about that.
yes, actually, Bird Consultancy is a platform where my best friend, my partner, and I, Gilbert, like created a platform like whomever wants to consult about whichever subject can find someone like really a consultant on this platform that who could help, like, and you know, it's based in New York, and like I'm handling it in the Middle East, so it's where we can be reached actually, like, and hopefully we can help in whichever budget remaining budgets that the industries have, like to promote, like to keep on the level of the image and its trust and its, you know, and its soul and character and like positioning and whatever, whichever we talk about.
Perfect. So we invite everyone to get in touch on the website. Otherwise,
Yes.
I would take the liberty to tell everyone to contact you or DM you on Instagram and other social media sites. And
Right.
I want to inform you guys whom have been with us since the beginning or joined in late that this conversation will be directly available on Huckster's IGTV and later on YouTube. And Elias and I will be sharing the links with you in a few. Thank you all for joining us. Elias, it was a pleasure.
Thank you. My honor.
And I'm really happy to be doing this with you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Ghalia. My honor, such an honor. Good
Thank
luck.
You so much.
Thank you for all your constructive lives.
Thank you. And I hope that we are going to be meeting soon physically.
Definitely.
In Beirut. Thank you, Elias.
Definitely. I can't wait to see you live.
Thank you, everyone, for joining in. Bye. Bye, Elias.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.